Okay, so for the sake of those classes, there were, I think, 2 classes where we weren't able to finish our notes. So if you have your interactive notebook and this is, you need to finish your notes, here it is for you. For those of you that don't mind getting a refresher, continue watching the video. Otherwise, you can fast forward to the part where I will go over the homework. Okay, so and the homework are two pages, so I'm going to go over this one first, the write the new coordinates, and then I'll go over the practice quiz. But let me first go ahead and finish what was on interactive notebook page 22. It started off with what? No graph, and we're talking about translation. So how to find image coordinates without a graph. So here's an example. Let's say I have a point A, which has the coordinates 3, -4, translated. So all of this you should copy down. 2 units right, 4 units down. Period. Find the image point. So, first of all, it might be a good idea to use KWWSD to kind of break down this problem. So what do I know? Okay, I'm given this, a point A with coordinates 3, -4. And I also know it's going to get translated 2 units right and 4 units down. Alright, I also know that if this is true, if this is the one that's getting translated, this is the pre-image. And since it's telling me to find the image point, yeah, that means this is the pre-image. Now, another thing I know is that if it's translated 2 units right, then it must be, it's the X movement, it's movement for the X. And it's positive because it's going right, too. Alright, what else do I know? I also know what this means. 4 units down, that means that's a Y movement. So for every Y, you would move it 4 units down, which is -4. So I'm adding in what else I knew, which is going to be helpful to me. So now, the W part of the KWWSD says, what is the question asking you to find? Here it's asking you to find the image point. Okay, so what it's asking me to do is find A prime. So this is my original coordinates. If I translate it 2 units right and 4 units down, okay, I'm going to get my new coordinates. So how does that work? So it would look something like this. Here's my A with coordinates 3, -4. That's my pre-image. Now, this is my X and this is my Y. So the X is going to change by adding 2 to it. So it's going to go 2 to the right, and I'm going to add that. And then since the Y is changing by going down 4 units, you're going to go to the Y and go down 4 units. So literally I'm adding that to find my A prime. So 3 plus 2 is 5. So the coordinates for my new point is 5. For my X coordinate, and for the coordinate, the new Y coordinate is -4 plus -4, that's -8. So I didn't even need a graph for this. That's my answer. Did I find the image point? Yes, I did. So to summarize, this is what I was given. I was given a pre-image point with coordinates 3, -4. And I was told to translate it 2 units right and 4 units down. Well, all it asks me to find the image point, I don't actually have to graph it. So then this is my shortcut. 2 units right, that's the X changing, so you add 2 to the X. 4 units down, that's the Y changing, so you subtract 4 from the Y. And then boom, boom, you got your answer, and this is your new coordinate. And that's going to help us with this worksheet. So on this worksheet, I told you guys, for those of you that we had time to write it down, the interactive notebook is page 22. So you can use this notebook to help you figure out what to do here. Okay, so this says write the coordinates obtained after the given translation. It's always good to know what the question's asking. So let's go to number 3. We did 1 in class. Number 3. So I see my pre-image points K, L, M, and N. Now this is telling me to go 4 units right. I would underline that if you can, 3 units up. So 4 units right. Right is an X movement. And since it's going right, it's plus 4. Y here, 3 units up, so it's a Y. And it's up, so it's positive. and it's going up 3. Maybe I'll put it underneath here, because I will need to use that space. Erase, erase. Thank you for erasers, whoever invented them. Okay, so now these are this. I would get in the habit of writing, okay, x comes before y, x before y, x before y, always, guys. Okay, x before y. So all the x's are going to be changing by adding 4, meaning you're moving them to the right. So literally to every x, you're going to add 4, add 4, add 4, and then add 4. The x's get added. Now the y's, they are moving 3 up, so you add 3 to the y. 3 to the y, 3 to the y, 3 to the y. Now if you understand that much, now do it on your own. Okay, so then you would take your calculator, or you can practice using mental math. This is all addition, so same signs add and keep, different signs subtract. Keep the sign of the larger number. Okay, so let's go to k prime. If I want to do k prime, I got to do -5, the original, plus 4, which is a translation. Well, these are different signs. Subtract, keep the sign larger. This is a -1. -4 plus 3 is a -1. Anytime in this video, I would strongly encourage you to pause it and see if you can get the rest on your own, and then just check with mine. And you can fast forward through my explanation, just check the answer, okay? Alright, L prime, -2 plus 4 is +2. -4 plus 3 is -1. Hopefully I'm not going to make any mistakes because I'm doing this in my head. Alright, let's go to M prime. -2 plus 4 is a +2. -2 plus 3 is a +1. N prime, -5 plus 4 is -1. -2 plus 3 is +1. Let me get my answer key and double check. Okay, yep, okay. Now let's go on to number 4. Number 5. So here are our pre-image points. The direction says write the coordinates obtained after the given translation. So here's my given translation. I would underline the phrase if that helps. And down movement is y, left movement is x. So now down means subtract, so y minus 5. And then this is going to be x. Well, I wrote it above again. I need room. Okay. And then this one is x movement, so x, and it's also left, so that's an x minus 1. So this is my x, y coordinates. Again, I would strongly advise you write that down because there's so many numbers, it's very easy for your eyes to play tricks on you. So y minus 5, it's the y that's going down, so I'm going to put a -5 here. And then -1 for the x's, whoops, wrong. -1 for the x. Okay. So let's go ahead and do that. Now E prime, 1 minus 1 is 0. 2 minus 5 is -3. Okay. F prime, let's see, 3 minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 5 is -3. G prime, 4 minus 1 is 3. 4 minus 5 is -1. H prime, 2 minus 1 is 1. 4 minus 5 is -1. And those are my new coordinates. Alright? And we did this all without needing a graph. Alright, now let's go on to the next part of the homework. Okay, so your quiz tomorrow is going to look exactly like this, except the numbers will be changed. Okay, so what is the rule in coordinate notation? What is the rule in coordinate notation? So rule means you should start off like this. Okay, 2 units to the right. Now what kind of movement is that? That's x movement, right? So the x is going to change, and it looks like there's no vertical, like y movement. So, and it's to the right, so that's going to be x plus 2, and nothing happening vertically, so I write y, and then I close the parentheses. Here's the question again, what is the rule? Okay, and this time it's 1 unit up and 6 units to the left. So up and down movement, that's a y, and since it's up, it's plus 1. At 6 units to the left, well, left is left and right movement, which is x, and since it's left, it's minus 6. Okay, so be careful, these are switched up. Okay, but they should not switch up over here. So what I mean by that is this still starts off as x comma y, parentheses, arrow, parentheses. Now this is always x, so what do I put here? X minus 6, comma, then y plus 1. Even if it's out of order here, you always put x first here and then y first here, or y second, okay? Alright, so that one's done. Now this one says describe. That's different than what these are asking you to do. Describe the movement defined by x comma y, arrow, x minus 3.8, comma, y minus 5. Okay, that means you can write the word shift if you want, but I'm just going to write 3.8. I'm going to write shift. If you don't write that on the quiz, I'm okay, but it's a good idea because this is a verb. Shift 3.8 units left and 5 units down. That's how you would describe it. Okay, number 4, given the pre-image, so the pre-image is at 2 comma 4, what is the image after this? Okay, so this is your pre-image and this is your image. So what is this telling you to do? It's telling you the x stays exactly the same, so let's go back to the pre-image. That's your x, that's your y. The x, there's no change, so you just rewrite the 2. But the y, you need to add 1 to it, so for here, I'm going to add 1 to that original y. So what's 4 plus 1? 5, and you're done. That is your image. This is your new coordinates. This was your old coordinates. This is your new coordinates based on this rule. Okay, let's try that on. Given the pre-image 0, comma, negative 5, what is the image after this pre-image, the rule that applies to this pre-image to create the image? So what is this telling you to do? Okay, now this is cool. We're going to apply the whole, okay, I don't need to draw a graph for this. Every x, you subtract 3 from it. So let's go to the x, subtract 3 from it. What do you do to y? You're going to subtract 2 from it. Okay? So then 0 minus 3 is negative 3, comma. Now negative 5 minus 2, or another way to say is negative 5 plus negative 2 is negative 7. All right. And that's your image after, so this was your pre-image, this is your image after you subtract 3 and subtract 2. Alright, number 6. Given point A with coordinates 7, comma, negative 2, and B with coordinate negative 8, comma, 0, write the coordinates of the image points, so they want this, after the translation defined by this. So here's my translation. I'm going to have 2 answers here. A prime, where does that end up? So every x you add 1 to it, every y you subtract 8. This is your x, this is your y, and so on and so forth. So add 1, these go together, and then subtract 8, and those go together. Okay, so 7 plus 1 is 8. So now a prime is now at 8. Negative 2 minus 8, or negative 2 plus negative 8 is negative 10. That's one of the new coordinates. Now let's write the image points after for b prime, the coordinates for that. So negative 8 gets added with 1, that's negative 7. And then 0 plus a negative 8, or minus 8, is negative 8. And let's see if I answer the question. Write the coordinates of the image points after. Yeah, these are the coordinates of the image points after they were translated. This means right 1 and down 8, and that's where they would end up from here. Okay? Number 7. This says describe the movement. Well, think about where we already saw the word describe. Where do you see the word describe in previous problems? Yeah, number 3. And what did we do there? We literally wrote out the words, so that's what we should do here. But this time, we're given a pre-image and an image. So let's look at the pre-image. Okay? Oh, pause. I'm going to think of making myself a mental note about something. Okay, so I see that this is the pre-image because there are no primes. This is the image because there are primes. So a lot of students, here's what not to do. Oh, here's J, so you went left 2 and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, and then say, oh, that's my answer. No, because J has to map to J prime. What you just did was find where J, how J would get to I prime, and that's not the corresponding letter that you should be going to. So that's a common mistake a lot of students make. So you want to go from J, so it might be a good idea to circle the beginning and the end that you're trying to get to. The beginning is here, that's not your end then. If the beginning was here, then that would be our end. So from J, since that is the pre-image, I'm going to put my pencil there. And then let's see what it did to get here. So I'm going left now. So I go left, 1, 2, 3. So I went left 3, 1, 2, 3, and then you have to go down to get to J prime. So down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I went down 5. So the description, actually I could have put it up here. Okay, you can say left 3 and then down 5. And if you want to add this word, it's always nice if you write the word shift, left 3 and down 5. And that's what describe means. You literally write out the words describing what the movement is. Number 8, write a rule to describe the translation below. So then this is what you should write. Okay, you start off with parentheses, x, comma, y, parentheses, and then arrow, and parentheses. Now let's take a look what's going on here, the movement. Okay, looks like it's a pre-image here, and it went up and to the left. Okay, so now again, pick 2 points. I'll try I this time. I is my beginning, I prime is my end. So how do I get there? Okay, so if I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I went up 5. Let's try that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then left 2, 1, 2. Okay, so then which one of these is X movement? It's this one right here. Okay, and then this one's your Y movement. Okay, so let's see. Which one's going to go with the X? This one. Since it went left 2, left means minus, and then 2, comma. Now we have our Y movement. It went up 5, so that's plus 5. And then close it, and we're done. Lastly, or last but almost lastly, this one in bold, it says, for numbers 9 through 10, correctly label all image points. Okay, so that's a good reminder. Number 9, graph the image by translating the given pre-image, 4 units left and 3 units up. Okay, so wherever, oh, there it is. There's my pre-image, just a single point. You're going to go 4 units left and 3 units up. Okay, so we go from here. All right, my pencil's on here. I go 4 units left, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 3 units up, 1, 2, 3. And I label it P prime. Okay? So that's it. That's all it asked me to do. Graph the point image, I did, and I labeled the image point, so we're good to go. Number 10, graph the image by translating the given pre-image 2 units left. Okay, so let's say we go 2 units left. So every point's got to go with 2 units left. Here, 1, 2. I prime. Take this one, 1, 2. H prime. J, 1, 2. J prime. I've translated every single point to the left, and then now I'm going to connect them. And then I graphed the image. It was originally a triangle, now it's also still a triangle. And then I have labeled my image points. Okay? So this will be our quiz tomorrow with different numbers, but the format is the same. So I hope you guys will study, okay, especially like a lot of students are like, what does it mean by rule, or what does that describe mean? So you need to know what the question's asking, because if you put it in the wrong format, you won't get credit for it, okay? And then also make sure you pay attention to this saying label all, because if you don't label it, if you forget to write P prime, you'll get points taken off. Okay, so just make sure you're actually following the directions.